Hello, you legends. I've stolen Jamie's intro. Unfortunately, don't quite have the hair or the guns to go along with it. My name is Nikki. I'm here to go through some of the questions on YouTube over Jamie's last couple of videos and see if I can be any help to anybody out there. I assume when this video comes out, there'll be something down below around the private group. If you want some one-on-one time advice from the great man himself, get involved. All data should be there. Community is growing every day as we speak. But for the time being, you're stuck with me to go through some of these. So let's have a look. So these are on the TLT analysis from yesterday, from last night. Smart dude. Thanks for your insight. Absolutely. Jackson fortified his minutes in reserve grade. I'm not sure if that's kind of a hope that Ford would drop off the bench to reserve grade. The Warriors bench does look very forward heavy, so kind of maybe doesn't look good for Fisher, Harris, etc. minutes that way. But yeah, not entirely sure what that comment was looking for. Hey Jamie, which is better option? Ponga, Cole, Haas, Marju, Yo, Starling. So if there's good when we go through questions like this, generally speaking, I don't want to be here to tell people what to do. One or two. Um, we can give everybody here can give opinions, we can give analysis, but ultimately it should come down to you, the player, to pick out what you think is best for your team. In saying that, out of these two options, so the one out of those six I probably have the most concerns on is Starling. How many minutes is Paddy going to get off the bench for the Raiders? It's not sure. Starling is a person that is always fantasy relevant at some point over a season, it seems, and everybody jumps on. He plays big minutes, he gets big scores, and then he doesn't anymore. So if you think that they might blood Paddy slowly, small minutes, early doors, Starling could be a good shout. But I personally would kind of lean number one. It's more of that guns and cows strategy. Ponga Haas, Top Guns, Cole is the cheapie, whereas Yo, Marju, Starling, obviously a more midi type basis with Marju and Starling. I do really like Greg Marju as a play to start the season. I think he has really big upside, but like I said, Starling's the one that would kind of put me off that option. Raiders having a really nice buy schedule makes one ponder. Well, since TLT, I now have three Raiders in my team from having none pretty recently. So, yeah, buy schedule later on. I wouldn't spend a lot of time looking at buys future. Beyond round, let's say 7 or 8 at this point. A lot of things can change. So make decisions now for your team now and then deal with buys later on. But obviously, if you've got people that you think can be keepers throughout the season, having a good buy schedule definitely advantageous. Is having Cole, Duffy, Sand, and Smith all my bench emergencies too much? If so, which one should I leave out? I think there'll be a lot of people doing that, and possibly even more halves. We're all going to have so many halves. I would not worry about it. 3, a lot of people will carry 4. As long as you've got enough coverage in the other spots on your bench, then it should be fine. So maybe you want to, on your other spots, other cheapies, maybe you want to concentrate on dual position guys to make sure that you do have coverage in all positions, in your wing fullback, in your centers, in your edges, in your mids, and making sure that you've got coverage for buy rounds coming up. If you've got a couple of nights in round 4, which a lot of people do, make sure you've got that coverage. But yeah, lots of people will have all of these halves, if not more. If I had to leave one out personally, it'd probably be Cole. I think, assuming Duffy, and we're not sure if Duffy does get named, but assuming he does, I think him and Sandon have better job security. Blaze could come in at any point for Cole, but at the same time, he might not. They might get him in slowly. They might use him as a utility, kind of like he was at Para last year, playing in the centres on the wing at fullback. So Cole could get a good run. But yeah, I think a lot of people will have all 3, and it's completely fine for your team. Hey mate, great content as always. Questions about looping. I won't read the whole comment. Tempted to go Campbell and Brimson. Would I place them in my team in order to loop other guys or on the bench? So you can do either, is the simple answer. There are a lot of videos out there. Jamie's done videos. I know Scoop's done videos on looping and kind of all of the different options that you can do. To try and keep it high level, the way I kind of look at it, or the way that I would approach this, is it depends on the players that you're looking to loop between. So, kind of what I mean is, if you've got, say, you've got a Brimson, so my current position, I have Brimson in my wing fullbacks. If your top half of if your bench is looking quite strong, you're quite happy with it. If you've got all of these halves that we're talking about and you want to play all four of those halves, lock them in the top 4 point on your bench. And then in your emergencies, you might have a Tamale, you might have a Nwanga Nitawase, a Munro, some of these cheapy wing fullbacks. Put them in your emergencies, have Brimson in the wing fullbacks. And then, so if Tamale does well, you can leave as is in the first game. If he does badly, then you can move a Munro mark into your wing fullbacks for Brimson. If, on the other hand, you've kind of stacked your wing fullbacks and you think they're good to go, you've got your three that you want to play sitting in your team, and you're less sure on these halves, you want to loop between a Cole and a Sandon Smith, then in that instance, I'd put Brimson in position 4, have Cole at 5, Smith at 6, and then you can do a more normal bench loop if you want to take Smith's score over Cole. So you can do either. It's really just, I think, trying to get clear in your head who are the players that you want to loop around and who you want to make those decisions for, and then make sure your buy players are positioned to allow you to do that. The other comment I'll make around looping, not quite, or kind of related to this question, I have seen a few comments around with people talking about, like, I really want Campbell, I really want Brimson, Fermor, Keeney, whoever it might be around the Titans team, but don't want to leave so much money wasted in the first week. And what I would kind of say to that is, that's obviously a factor. You know, we want to get off to a good start, but round one, especially with looping, is very special in that we can make decisions that aren't going to cost us trades with way more information than we normally get. So if you're worried about a Campbell, say you're debating between Campbell and Ponga, you really want Campbell, you think he's going to go better than Ponga, but you're worried about leaving him out for that first game, have somebody like a Tamale on your bench, like we said with looping, sitting in your emergencies. If he goes off, if he scores a couple of tries, if he gets these type of scores that we've heard that he has got in New South Wales Cup, he gets a 50 to 60, then having Campbell in there and his 700k not playing doesn't hurt you at all, because you're getting that 55, whatever it is, score coming into your team. So don't be scared to have that there if your bench is making up for it. If Tamale goes bad, gets you a 10, then you don't want that score, bring Ponga in so you don't have to take it. And especially if you want two guys, Campbell and Brimson, again, you could have Nwanga Nitawase and Tamale in your emergencies. They can go gangbusters. Stick Campbell and Brimson in your wing fullbacks. Great, you're getting those points. There could even be some really wild scenarios where if Tamale just goes insane and gets an 80, a 90 to 100, maybe you want to downgrade. You've got Ponga, but you realize, oh, I want to take this massive score in my emergencies, so I'll actually downgrade to downgrade's not the right word, but I'll switch him out for a Campbell in order to make sure that this emergency score is coming into my team. So don't get locked in one way or another with the Titans, guys. Wait to see what happens. Structure your team in such a way where you can get information early doors and then react to it. If your bench does well, bring those Titan guys in and don't worry about the cash, because you're getting those points. If they go badly, maybe you don't want to have them and you want to get people in to earn you that good start. So yeah, be flexible, set the team up, set your round one or 1A team up in such a way where you can react to it later on, would be my suggestion there. My only worry for Metcalf is CHT. Yeah, I think having Harris Tavita there isn't as good as it would have been if Tamari Martin was playing six, but I still think Metcalf is a really good choice. Only issue being, again, there's so many halves out there that if you want to fade one of them, maybe you choose Metcalf, but I think there's a lot of upside, there's a lot of value. He's a really good pick, even with Chanel next to him. I'm jumping on the horse, yeehaw. Yep, lots of people are. I have as well. Go Big Red. Genuinely considering not going with Munster, considering seeing how many halves we have. Yeah, look, again, these halves, absolutely. We're going to have so many. It really throws off what I think we picture a balanced team looks like. But my strategy has always been just to kind of pick the best team, the best players. And for me, Munster's still in there. I kind of mentioned in the private group the other night that we've been looking at the game for so long since it's been opened that I think it's worn off just how crazy it is seeing Cameron Munster priced where he's priced at. Going back, footy statistics goes back to 2018. Until his injuries last year, he'd never been priced under 600. And now we're getting him for 580. And we know that ceiling he has up to 60 points, 62, whatever his average was a few years ago, 800K. He's a gun that's priced extremely well. So I do get it. We've got lots of halves. You can use that money elsewhere. But I still think you kind of need to look at the people and individual players on merit. And to me, Munster is an extremely good buy. If you think the injuries have slowed him, if you think he's not the player that he was a few years ago, then sure, you can look elsewhere. But if you're only fading him because of the number of halves, I'm not sure that's the best approach. But again, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. He could easily come out and just not light it up the way he has in the past. And if you're he's still very heavily owned, anti-podding him could work out, definitely. Let's see. Barnett or Big Red? Again, not going to tell people what to get, especially in instances like this. It's kind of with the price difference, it's not an equal comparison. Horsburgh is 550K. Barnett, I think, is 710, 720, something like that. So you've got a big price difference there. Barnett will be very reliable. He'll play big minutes. He'll average well. I think that's kind of locked in. We kind of know what we're getting from him. Horsburgh, still open to debate what his minutes are going to look like. To me, at that cheaper price, Horsburgh is a better option. I think he has more upside. But again, if you kind of want to just lock in the safety of something like of someone like a Barnett to be, he'll go there, he'll average 50, 55 plus. Great. Get that locked into your side. Horse is somebody that can get that level if he gets the minutes. Will he get the, and obviously if he does, if he scores as well as Barnett, clear better buy at that price point. But will he, is a question we have to ask ourselves. Should I put Tamale in my emergencies or interchange? I mean, hard to say without looking at the rest of your emergencies or interchange. Similar to the comment earlier, maybe try and set it up in a way that you can loop and get those points if he does go off. If I was purely ranking a lot of the cheaper options, he's probably below a lot of those halves in terms of people that I would choose to play. So again, up to you, however your team is looked off, whatever your team looks like. When is Watson get dual position? So everybody that isn't named this week should get dual position next week if they are named in the positions that we expect them to be named in. So if Watson is named at hooker in team lists next Tuesday, he'll get the dual position by Wednesday. The only question, I think has been answered, that people kind of forgot about is Titans. They won't get that dual position, or they're unlikely to. The game could make exceptions, but because they're not being named in round one, I wouldn't expect a Brimson to get the half dual position until later on in the season. Unless there's been some news that I've missed around that, that's kind of what I would plan. So we can plan for the likes of Watson and Nwangani Tawase and Seyfarth, and those guys are pretty. We know if they're named in the position that we expect, they'll get the DPP. The Titans guys might have to wait till later in the year. As soon as I saw Hosking, he was in my side. Yeah, so there's a lot of comments around Hosking. We'll come back. Yeah, we'll get to this one here, I think, as well, and cover all that off. Does Cam McInnes play close to 80 with that bench? I don't think so. Well, he might one week and then go back to 40 minutes the next week. Seems to be the way with McInnes. He's one of these players that we look at every year and say, if he just gets those big minutes, he will bang out points. He's like he can get close to that 1 ppm. He can be a great buy, but then he'll go 80 minutes one week and then 50 minutes the next. So for me, he's too expensive, I think, to play that roulette, that game. But again, if you think that that's the role that they are setting him up for and you want to bring him in, bring him in. Matea is the Panthers next. Fisher Harris or Leota. All Nations will be minutes. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know anything about this guy. I guess we'll keep an eye on him, and if his minutes start to look good, we can see about him being an option. But I think for now, obviously not. Barnett or Big Red? Yeah, same comment. Barnett safer. Horse has the upside. Hosking, he is a trap. Simi Sasangi will demand at least 20-25 minutes at second row. Hudson Young will be playing 80. PPM 0.75, we can expect 45 at most. So I don't agree that he's a trap. I think we kind of know what Hosking is, which is an elite upside fantasy provider if he plays big minutes. He also doesn't need big minutes. He can play 60 minutes and score a couple of tries and get some offloads and score well in 60 minutes. He can do that. He doesn't have a huge sample size. Obviously, if you look at his stats on Foodie statistics, average goes down if you go look over, say, 60 minutes compared to 70 plus, as almost everybody on the edge will. But he has big upside in him. Will he play 80 minutes from the start? Probably not. Sasangi probably will take some time off him as he comes back from his calf. He hasn't had a preseason, or he hasn't had a full preseason. He hasn't played in the trials. But if you want to take a risk, to take that upside, he's a good pick. If you look at last year, made 170k in 3 weeks. What can you say? What can you say with that? And one of them was a 60-minute game, I believe, as well. So yeah, look, he's not guaranteed. Maybe he's a 60-minute edge. Maybe he averages 45. That's not a disaster, but that upside for me makes him a good pick. But again, completely up to you. Do you reckon the Hosking risk is worth it? For me, yes. I like upside plays to start the season. I think we have a lot of time. It's a long season. It's important to be able to pivot if things don't work out. So if you bring a guy in to start the season and he doesn't work, you can move on. You can fix things. If you look back at teams who've done really well previously, they almost all started with players who were not great to start the season. But they were able to react and they were able to move on. So Hosking, if he doesn't work out, I don't think he'll lose money. And there's a lot of other people around that 600k mark that you can pivot to if you think it's not going to work out. If it does work out, sky's the limit for Zach Hosking. So to me, get off to a good start, get that cash gen going, get those big scores. I think it's worth it. Whereas when we move on from Freddie Lussick, not really fantasy relevant. Am I the only one on Fogs? Well, no, because somebody else has him there. Look, he's very, very solid. Very solid. You know what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get that 50, around 50 in base purely from kicking and tackling, really. And then some, maybe some upside from attacking plays on top of that. The issue for me with Fogarty, like we talked about earlier, is we've got so many half options. Everybody has Cleary as that top gun. We've all got a ton of cheapies. You've got Munster. You've got Metcalf. Do you want to forego those guys who have more value, more upside than a Fogarty who is priced maybe a little bit under? There's maybe a little bit of value there, but he's down the list on halves for me. But if you like him, go for him. I do think there's benefits of having some difference, of having some pod elements in your team. And if you really like Fogarty, absolutely, I wouldn't talk anybody out of getting him. Great kind of Jamie, drop Clark after the analysis. Okay. Okay. Halasima or Vayamonga? There's no way I've said that correct. I don't think you can buy any of them at the moment. I said here wait until one gets a starting spot. You might not need to get a starting spot, but we would definitely need to see a consistent high minute off the bench before I think we want to buy them. There's a lot of cheapies out around this year who have more defined roles that I would prioritize over bench forwards who we're just not quite sure. So yeah, I would if you're interested, definitely keep an eye on them, see how they go, and if it looks like they're getting that role and their price is going to start jumping, then fire in. Hosking still touch and go. I mean, if this is to do with his fitness, then sure, right? We can pivot later on if we think he's injured. Them being the first game of the week is perfect. So we get to see exactly how he's going to go. Or sorry, we'll get to see exactly how he is named. So if he's named to play, I think we can take it as pretty safe he's going to be fit. Obviously, if he's not, he'll drop out and we move on. So yeah, having him first game, useful for that respect. 13,000, yeah, he did. Team reveal, I will leave that to Jamie. Should I have Metcalf and Hosking or Kelma and Munster? I mean, kind of similar, I guess, in terms of you're upgrading your edges and downgrading your halves a bit. Yeah, look, I think Metcalf and Hosking better upside. Kelma's a bit risky still. We're not sure what we're getting. I think they're all options. All four are options. I have 3 of them in my team currently. I've changed Kelma since the Hosking news. So based on my team, Metcalf and Hosking. But again, I think Cam Munster is a great buy this year. So if you need to make sacrifices elsewhere in your team to get him in, then maybe that's what you need to do. If you don't get Hosking, you will regret JB. I mean, absolutely, Hosking can make you regret it, like last year. But you can also get an advantage over everyone that does pick him up if it doesn't work out. We don't like you don't like what you say. We love what you say. There we go. Am I the only one completely off Metcalf? I mean, same comments around. Yes, we have a lot of halves, but he's a great buy. So if you don't want him, don't get him. But yeah, great buy still for me. Freddie Lussick, comment earlier, not involved in the squad. They cannot go without Hosking to start the year. Yeah, we'll see. I think that's all the questions. Fish or horse? Is that to do with pets or players? Yeah, look, again, compared to the Barnett to horse comparison earlier, Fisher Harris obviously closer in value. It's just about how you see it going. So I've never been that high on Fisher Harris through the summer. I don't think he has huge upside. There's definitely some upside there, absolutely. It just depends on how many minutes he plays. The answer to both is how many minutes do you think they're going to get? They can both bang out close to a PPM. So which do you think? So yeah, for that one, absolutely up to you. I have horse. I don't have Fisher Harris, but that's just me. I wouldn't push you the other way. Okay, let's move on to the video released a few hours ago on the his Vegas deep dive. Not quite as many questions. I think a lot of duplications, but we'll see what we get. Is it a bad idea to have Cole Smith? No, again, very, very standard. A lot of people are going to have those. I think Hosking is a trap. Again, can easily go either way. To me, it's not really a definition of a trap because I think we know what we're going to get. Or, sorry, we know that he's a very high upside player who may not get 80 minutes, and you make your decision from there. If he does get 80 minutes, perfect. If he gets 60 minutes, he still has upside in my eyes. So, again, up to you. Vegas got me stressing. Don't look, yeah. It would be nice to go back to the old days of having everything in one go, but it is what it is. And hell, if you've got all used Raider players and they kill it in the first round, you've got all week to look at those beautiful points. So just hope it goes the right way for you. Banned from Discord. Can't help you there. Sorry. Should I loop Cole, seeing as he's in the first game? Yeah, can absolutely loop Cole. I think there'll be a lot of people trying to loop amongst those halves. Just depends which ones you are more sure on. Pick two out of Tamale, Humphreys, and Marky Mark. I mean, they're all Tamale, Marky Mark. I mean, Humphreys as well, to be honest. They're all kind of the same in that they're all going to play week one. Will they play week two? We're not sure. Will Humphreys lose his spot? Assuming Humphreys plays at 7, will he lose his spot to Lewis Dodd? Not sure. Will Marky Mark lose his spot to Billy Smith? Don't know. Will Tamale lose his spot to Hopoate? Don't know. So, I mean, we are kind of taking risks on all of these guys. I would, coming back to everything we've talked about, all of the halves, I would rank Humphreys last just because of that reason. But I think if they all get locked into the position, I think Humphreys has that biggest upside. So he could come in and absolutely kill it. So he's one I'm definitely going to pay a lot of attention on. If he kills it round one, if he keeps the spot over Lewis Dodd when he's back from suspension, then he can be a great buy. Tamale and Marky Mark, much of a muchness. I think we're both going on we're all going on reputation and, like physical attributes. I think they've both played one game at NRL level, I believe. So between them, up to you. Absolutely up to you. Nowak is injured. Well, he did go off late in the trial with what looked like really bad cramps in his calf. If that's actually a injury, like if that's been announced that he's now injured and he's missing, then obviously the decision becomes a lot easier for you. But still kind of taking the analysis on the basis that he will be fit and ready to go round one. Tamale, Nwang and Itawase, exactly. Same thing, up to you. Tamale's cheaper, maybe that's the deciding point for you. Chaz Tavanga, Aaron Clark, yeah, neither for me, to be honest. Clark's one in particular that I think every year people get excited about a little bit, and if he gets big minutes, he'll be a great producer, but just never gets those minutes. So I would need to see it before I wanted to jump on. Same with Jazz Tavanga. What's his role going to be? Manly, is he going to be starting hooker like he was in the trial? Is he going to play that bench role? I'm not sure. I don't think either of them are really ones that you would want to look at. They're that annoying $400 to $500 price. There's a lot of promising cheapies out there that I would rather downgrade to and then upgrade elsewhere. But again, these are those type of pods that can really set your team off on a great start. If you believe in them, no one else does. You pick them, no one else does. It can shoot, you can shoot forward. So that looks to be it. So excited. Me too, Quasimomo. Me too. Yeah. So, okay, cool. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, if we do this again, I'll see you in the next video.